Podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the voice of the people. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
Welcome to ThaBoxingvoice.com. Our show will provide in-depth international coverage of the sport of boxing. You'll receive your daily boxing news and headlines, as well as pre-fight interviews on upcoming fights, along with a detailed review of every fight, the aftermath, and its results. Our audience is second to none, with callers from all over the world. Tune in once and become addicted. The difference between us and most is our continued efforts to prioritize the boxing fans. Bring them first, giving them the platforms to express their angers and their celebrations when they pick the winner correctly or incorrectly. Call in and voice your opinion. Make sure you follow us on YouTube and Blog Talk Radio to receive one email whenever a show is scheduled, because we do spontaneous shows you wouldn't want to miss. Now your host, Nestor Gibbs.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to each and every one of you out there tuned in. We are back. It is February 7th, early in the morning, 9:30 in the morning, 32 degrees outside. It's snowing, and we're ready to talk some boxing. We got an interesting headline here. I mean, one that is going to receive a lot of hate and, definitely some controversy, debatable words being stated by the WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Bronze Bomber Wilder. Says in an ESPN article that America does not even know Anthony Joshua's name. Bold words. Bold words. I don't know that I can agree with Wilder, but we'll go on to give you all the facts and have you kind of make your own assessment. For those that don't know, Anthony Joshua faces Joseph Parker in Cardiff on March 13th. And obviously everyone is looking forward to the future potential unification fight against he and Deontay Wilder, which would be to follow. Not to count Joseph Parker out, but the super fight that everyone is clamoring about is definitely between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Now, Wilder's claims that America doesn't even know Anthony's Joshua names. He also goes on to say he doesn't believe that Joshua will ever become a global icon without facing him being Deontay Wilder. Now, I guess we need to dissect this in parts, because while off firsthand, I'm sure the people that are tuning into the show reading just the headline or title are going to say to themselves, well, Deontay Wilder is crazy. Others will say Wilder is trolling. Just stop it. Others might say, deep down inside, Wilder wishes it was true, but he knows it's not. Plenty of people out here would say different. Some would say America doesn't even know Wilder's name. So it's interesting, the route that Deontay is taking, but I must give him credit. I am guilty of letting other fighters know that they must associate their names with the bigger star. We said it about Wilder when, he had some, I don't know, interesting quotes, to say the least, about a potential fantasy matchup between he and Mike Tyson. Wilder, in my opinion, is strategically keeping his name in the media to prop up the Luis Ortiz fight, which is, in my opinion, okay. definitely worth it, right? Now, the good thing about these types of quotes is that it's going to continue to build a hatred for Wilder. And those that don't love you, hate you, but those that hate you, want to see you lose, still tune in. Now, Wilder's 39-0 with 38 KOs, and he's going to be making the 7th defense of his belt when he faces Louis King Kong Ortiz, who's 28-0 with 24 KOs, and they're going to be fighting March 3rd at the Barclays Center in New York. But the unification fight that Deontay wants, obviously, is that Anthony Joshua one, but he cannot make it there without getting past the dangerous Louis King Kong Ortiz. Now, till date, many boxing fans would agree that this is Wilder's toughest test till date, or best opponent on the resume, because people feel that the Bermain-Stavern wins are not as credible. My question will be, once this fight is over, will we give either man credit? In Louis Ortiz's case, I mean, we see comments time and time again that Wilder's faced 39 bums. So will Ortiz get credit for defeating Wilder, is the question that I ask. Will Wilder get credit for defeating Ortiz after Ortiz in the media has been at least questioned about his real age? Now, Joshua has hinted that he might never need to fight in the U.S., and there's articles out there that can back these statements. But he feels that he might never need to fight in the U.S. during his career. But Wilder has took it upon himself to taunt the WBO, IBO, and IBF heavyweight champion of the world as a UK-only champion, and insist that the two of them need each other. Now, this is the part of the article where I agree. See, I don't agree that the world or America doesn't know Anthony Joshua, but I do agree with Wilder when he says that the both of them need each other. No matter how much more the popularity of an Anthony Joshua grows, the popularity of a Deontay Wilder will forever continue to grow until they face each other, because his name is attached. He is the only other heavyweight, maybe outside of Povetkin, but I believe that the danger level in a Anthony Joshua versus Povetkin and a Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder is just not the same. That is the reason that Alexander Povetkin is facing David Price on the undercard of Joshua, to prepare the world for that, because there are multiple reports that Wilder will not be getting this unification fight, even if he can get past Louis Ortiz this year. Why? Because the father, Barry Hearn of Eddie Hearn, said that, they're not interested. Not for this year. But I quote here, he may have his country behind him, and that's it. Wilder told ESPN, does he want to be remembered as a countrywide champion? Because he's not worldwide champion. Over here in America, they don't even know his name. They don't know him. They just know him as a big guy from England. That's facts. I don't know if that's facts. I mean, Wilder, look, they're nemesis, right? These guys are definitely on the opposite sides of the track. So I don't expect Wilder to prop up Anthony Joshua too much. But I must step in because I know who Joshua is. And yes, I'm involved in the sport, but I know women that know who Joshua is. They ask or talk, speak of Anthony Joshua. But again, they do need each other, in my opinion. I will go on a quote here. I need him and he needs me at the end of the day, unless he doesn't want to unify, unless he wants to stay over his side of the pond and let people gravitate to him and be a fake sign of what he says he is. But he will never be a global icon. You will never be a worldwide figure without me. All roads lead to Deontay Wilder. Now, again, I know that there is a lot of aggression and, moxie attached to this quote, but it is seriously real. Wilder does have the other belt, and until he can be defeated, all roads do point to him. The world, for now, can seem content because Joshua has other business. How could you criticize Joshua for not fighting Deontay Wilder when he's busy unifying with Vladimir Klitschko? How could you criticize Anthony Joshua for not fighting Deontay Wilder when he's busy unifying with Joseph Parker? But soon, those options will not be there. Yes, we'll still have mandatories a la Povetkin, David Price winner, and whoever is in the IBF or the WBO. The sanctioning bodies would always either assist or put a roadblock in big fights. But sooner or later, there will be no sanctioning bodies. There will be no mandatories. And the world will be turning to both of these men to get this fight done. And that's when they'll have to ask themselves, do they want to be countrywide champions, as Deontay says, or worldwide champions? Now, Wilder at least goes on to admit in this article that it is a similar situation for himself, with his name being circulated in the UK through the Joshua and the potential matchup of that. But Wilder says that it's laughable. He feels that no fight is going to happen, and it's because of what we spoke of briefly earlier of Hearn and the father coming to the U.S. late last year, right after our very epic show that you can catch on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, or wherever podcasts are, right here on YouTube or ThaBoxingVoice.com/videos, where we had Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Eddie Hearn, and Shelly Finkel all on one gigantic show to get things in motion. Right after that, Eddie Hearn, Finkel, Team Wilder all sat down and had discussions. But Wilder says that it's laughable because they came over here and they didn't even make him an offer for the Joshua fight. Instead, it was, and I quote, stalling tactics by trying to put Dillian White as a roadblock without even the mention of Anthony Joshua. And I quote, everybody wants to see the fight, said Wilder. The only people that don't are his promoters. They already know how big of a risk this really is. They should be worried. But how long do they really think the public, the fans of boxing, are going to allow them to stay away from me? This is the biggest fight of our era. Wilder is adamant that he will take care of business against Ortiz. I mean, he told me on the phone he's going to kill him. We will be in the camp of Wilder in a few short days. We're bringing out the big guns, Mickey Caparelli all the way from Australia, Enrique Church, Doomsday Lioness, Matt the Hipster Hunter, and myself will invade Alabama to bring you the best coverage possible from here on TBV. Now, Anthony Joshua has to do his part by defeating Joseph Parker on March 31st in Cardiff, but we all believe that he should get past him. And I quote, I am the most exciting, the most entertaining fighter in the heavyweight division, added Wilder. Nobody in the heavyweight division is doing what I am doing. Nobody in history is doing what I am doing. Now, these words will definitely not sit well with some fans because, again, according to some fans, he's faced 39 bums. So the only history that he's made is defeating 39 bums. Will Joshua, Ortiz, will these men be the way that Wilder earns his credibility, or will he go down similar to a Vladimir Klitschko, who for very many years was reigning as a not undefeated, but a reigning, defending 12-year champion of the division, known as the man in the division, but people consistently disgracing the division, saying how it was lackluster and didn't have any real challenges. Will that be the storyline for these two men, or the winner of the fight between these two men? We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. But I quote one more. If they feel that they want to unify, then hey, you must go through me. All roads lead to Deontay Wilder, because I am going nowhere no time soon. Listen, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. Future, present, past, doesn't matter. Helps with the visibility of the show. Lets me, the producer, the host, everyone keeping the wheels moving here on the Boxing Voice know that you're appreciating this. It lets us know to get up early and do these 9 a.m. shows, because our UK public is out there enjoying it. We're going to go out to the phone lines. You know the number to call in. It is 1-425-569-5241. We want to get your opinion on Deontay Wilder saying that America doesn't even know the name of Anthony Joshua, and all the beautiful quotes that I articulated for you. Now, remember, you can add us on Skype by adding Nestor Gibbs. That's NESTORGIBBS. And you can be part of the conversation. We're going to go out to our sponsors and then to the callers.
These calls are brought to you by El Camino Electrical Services, experts in electric vehicle charging stations. For consultations and turnkey installation, visit us at elcaminoelectricalservices.com.
Going out on Skype here, we got Steve. How you doing, Steve? Where you calling from?
UK.
UK. What's going on, Steve? First time caller?
No. I've called before once, I think, ages ago.
All right, brother. Well, how are you, man? Talk to us. What do you think about these quotes? What do you think about this article? And had you had the time to actually read it, or are you just going based off the title of the show, or did you listen to most of the show?
Yeah, I listen to all your shows, to be honest. I don't catch them all because they're late, but I'll listen to them all back the next day and so on. So, and I just think Wilder needs to worry about America knowing him before he worries about Joshua fucking being known in America. Do you know what I mean? His own country don't even know him. And he's going on about like Joshua not being known in America. Joshua don't need America. He's earning 20 millions and all that. Wilder ain't. Do you know what I mean? So
definitely agree. Now, would you agree with me that it's at the very least a intelligent tactic to continue to attach his name to the popular Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, 100%. He's doing the right thing, definitely. 100%. And it's a shame he's not more popular over there.
Now, let me ask you, Steve. There was a part in the article where Wilder questioned how long the public would continue to accept Anthony Joshua avoiding the Deontay Wilder fight. You, as a UK fan, when is this fight due?
I think next.
So you're saying immediately after Joseph Parker, Anthony Joshua should try to fight Deontay Wilder, in your opinion?
Yeah, 100%. In my eyes, like Wilder's facing the first proper live opponent that he's had. And obviously that's the one belt left. So I think by the end of this year, them two, it's got to happen.
End of the year, but it has to be the next fight for you, or are you okay with Joshua maybe coming back home, doing a hometown defense versus the Dillian White Lucas Brown winner, or the Povetkin David Price winner? Because there are fans out there who I like to call Anthony Joshua protectors that are gonna say, well, he's got a mandatory with Povetkin Price winner. He's got a mandatory with Dillian White and whoever Lucas Brown. You know what I mean? He's got all these things to do. So how exactly do you want it to play out?
Well, if he can get away with having Wilder next without having a mandatory called, then go for Wilder. Do you know what I mean? That's his end goal. So that's what he's got to aim for, I think. Dylan White, he's already been there and done that one. That can happen again down the road. Do you know what I mean? That's pointless, I think, at this point. He ain't been looking that great himself either, Dylan White, to me, to get that fight. So I just think Wilder's got to be the next one. If the mandatory's called, then so be it. Do you know what I mean? Because his end goal is to get all them belts. Do you know what I mean? So if that has to happen, then fair enough. But in my eyes, by the end of the year, I want to see him in there with Wilder, 100%.
Well, Steve, man, thank you for calling in. Thank you for participating here on our early morning show. Remember, it is 9 in the morning over here on the East Coast and 6 in the morning on the West, and probably a little bit later in the afternoon for the UK. So if you're watching this in the future, present or past, it doesn't matter. Hit that thumbs up button. Let the Boxing Voice channel here know that you appreciate that we do this many shows. And guess what? We did 3 spontaneous shows yesterday. So head on over to iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, even iHeartRadio, wherever podcasts are found, you can catch the Boxing Voice. Get all caught up to the 3 shows we did yesterday. Today, we're talking Deontay Wilder, telling the world that America doesn't even know Anthony Joshua's name. We're going out to the 832-593, 832-593. No producer. You're live on TBV. Who's this?
Whoa.
N.O.
What's good, Ness?
What's happening, baby? Good morning.
Ain't nothing. So look, explain this to me, Ness. Now, if Deontay Wilder, let's just say he's still from America, right? And let's just say he just go to the UK and maybe fight like 3 fights or whatever. You don't think Wilder can sell out a stadium out there? I don't think it's that hard to sell out a fucking stadium in the UK. So I'm trying to see why everybody making a big deal about this dude being big in the UK. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can do that shit.
I think the big deal.
The fans
no. Wait a minute. Not anybody could do it. I mean, we know that Vladimir Klitschko has done it, and he did it in Germany. We know that Anthony Joshua is doing it, and we know that Canelo did it once in Texas, but that was only 40,000. Now, why we have to admit this. This guy is popular, and he's a big deal, and it's because of the amount of money. No one's getting that amount of guaranteed money if your name is not named Mayweather. And this guy's name, last time I checked, isn't Mayweather. It's Anthony Joshua, and he's getting 20+ million per fight guaranteed. That's big deal. That's big business. This man's gone on record saying he wants to be the first $1 billion fighter.
Yeah, Ness, but Ness, like he worked his way up to that over there. You know what I'm saying? Like what I'm saying is, if an American fighter go over there and he just fight over there, he'll be big too.
I don't know, because last time I checked, Deontay Wilder did fight in the UK, and he ain't selling no 60,000 or no 70, 80, 90,000, and he ain't making 20 million. He fought in the UK. Why he ain't stay fighting in the UK? This guy only got like 20 fights. You can't say he built his way to that. He just started. He got 20 fights.
Well, tell me this, man. Answer this for me. If Anthony Joshua, if he walks to if he walks in any bar in America, would they recognize that motherfucker?
Well, that's the question you need to ask yourself, because that's what Deontay Wilder is telling the world. He's saying America doesn't know his name.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, man, if they don't know him like that in America, nothing like hardcore boxing fan on. But man, he can go. Man, that guy can go anywhere he want to go in America. He can go shopping in the mall, whatever. Ain't nobody gonna know who the hell he is. They gonna think he played for the New York Giants or something. They ain't gonna know he no goddamn boxer. So I mean, like I said, but he big over there about game, man. But like, man, he not a superstar, man. He's a star in Germany, but he's not a superstar. He's not a Mike Tyson or Evander Holyfield or Lennox Lewis, man. That's my call.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in, NL. Appreciate you joining us here early in the morning. Now, in a similar division, obviously not in weight, just a similarity being another category in weight divisions in boxing. In the welterweight division, there's an argument between who is the best Who is number one? Is it Keith Thurman? Is it Earl Spence Jr.? And I think that there's a similar argument here. A similar argument. Is it Anthony Joshua or is it Deontay Wilder? Right? People use the eye test to give Earl Spence the edge in the fight with Thurman, even though Thurman is the one with more hardware. Hardware being the WBA super welterweight title and the WBC welterweight title. So very similar situations there. Very similar, except that Thurman is not Joshua in terms of popularity, purse, and ticket sales. But he is kind of this US version of it, right? He did do 16,552 at the Barclays Center with Danny Garcia, and he did have 5 million views for that fight. So 5.1 to be exact. So Thurman definitely known. 312, you're live on TBV. Good morning. Talk to me. 312 checked out. I guess he was just listening and at work couldn't talk. Listen, I guess that is it. We're going to head on out, but
subscribe to youtube.com/ThaBoxingVoice for the latest and greatest interviews with your favorite fighters.
Yes, we need you to subscribe because like we said, we did 3 spontaneous shows yesterday. You don't want to miss any of those. I mean, today is just one and we got a whole lot more on the agenda to talk about. Just a lot of news to bring you. 2018 is just reaping everything that 2017 had sowed. We had such a great 2017, which the dominoes fell, and we are just in line for good fights. You know, we got Herd Laura coming. We got Eubank versus George Groves coming. We have Joshua versus Joseph Parker coming. You know, Dillian White, Lucas Brown. I mean, even Povetkin Price, even though Povetkin should get like a, you know, highlight reel knockout over the chin Price. And it's meant to look that way on the undercard of a Joshua fight to prop up an opponent. But yes, it is a great 2018 shaping up nicely. Abner Mares, Leo Santa Cruz rematch. We got Carl Frampton, Nonito Donaire brewing. I mean, just so much coming, man. Oh, wow. We just got a bunch of phone calls. We're going out to the 312. We're talking Deontay Wilder saying America does not even know Anthony Joshua or his name. So, who's this? Talk to us. Good morning. 312. All right. We're going to the 314. 783-314-783. First time caller. Who's this?
Patricia.
Patricia, how are you? Good morning.
I'm pretty good. How are you this morning?
I am doing just fine.
I am a first-time caller, so if I can get the first-time caller one.
I am going to play the intro, and I don't think I'm sexist because it doesn't say female, but here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, making his professional debut,
Patricia Bailey.
So is it with a P or a B? I feel like you're saying it Patricia.
A B.
Okay, so it is a B. All right.
That's right. Bye, Trisha.
Bye, Trisha. Well, happy to hear you calling in. I got to ask you some questions. How long have you been listening to the Boxing Voice? I'm glad that you're calling in because we do boast a 47% female listenership, and you guys continue to pop up more and more on the phones live, which is impressive. So just want to say, how long have you been listening? And then obviously the biggest question of the day is, do you know who Anthony Joshua is?
I've been listening for over 2 years, and yes, I do know who Joshua is because I'm a boxing fan.
Do you think Wilder has lost his mind in saying that America doesn't know the name of Anthony Joshua?
Absolutely not, because I just sat down with a group of guys that don't watch boxing, and they knew who Deontay was, but they didn't know who Joshua was. And I had to introduce them, to certain names and to watch because they want to know a good, boxing match coming up. Well, should I watch it? Should I not watch it? A lot of people stop following boxing and they want to get back into watching boxing. So they didn't know who Joshua was, but they did know who Deontay Wilder was.
Now, that's very odd for me because that was part of the article that I couldn't agree with Wilder. I feel like the later part of the article where he says that, they'll be forever attached. And that's how I feel. I feel like they're each other's nemesis. So for you to mention one, how do you not know the other? Especially if you know Deontay, how do you not know the other guy has 3 belts, IBO, IBF, WBA?
Well, I feel like, once the UK get a belt, they take it over there and they don't come back with it. They don't want to challenge no one in America anymore. That's how Kell Brook had the belts for so long. He never came back and they never show love back. But now, with it getting boxing becoming more popular, they got to come back and they got to challenge us. The same way we gave them a chance, they need to give us a chance. And, Joshua is really popping over in the UK, but we don't really know because they, how much money he's making because they had a report that they was inflaming sales and things like that. So we don't really know.
Wow. So you really think that he needs Wilder and Wilder needs him? That's what Wilder is quoted saying in this article.
Yes, I agree. They need each other because if you want to be a world champion, that means you need to go all over the world and not stay in your little corner and box. I think that's why the heavyweight division went down like it did because Klitschko stayed over there and he just held the belts over there and boxed over there, never came back, and the heavyweight division suffered for it.
Patricia, but let's be honest here. I mean, even if they're inflating Anthony Joshua's numbers, let's be harsh and say it was inflation by 50%. $10 million guaranteed is still the highest paid heavyweight in boxing today. And the popularity, if they're inflating, if they're inflating the numbers in terms of ticket sales, it's still 70 and 80 and 90,000 people in the seats. What they paid to get in those seats is a different story. So what I'm saying is Joshua can continue to fight in the UK and sell out big shows. Like I said, the Povetkin David Price winner is there. Lucas Brown, Dillian White winner is there. And those are big fights in the UK. Or am I crazy?
You're correct. They are big fights in the UK because the UK is supporting. Remember when Beyonce was talking about how America don't support? How many heavyweights really support Beyonce? How many Americans really support? How many times is he out front? They pushed Joshua out front. They made him they made him a name over there, and that's why the people rallied around him because they made him popular.
I gotta interrupt you.
Popping and relevant.
I got to interrupt you. I heard you about to say they made him a global star. You was about to say it and you caught yourself. So that means you think he's a global star already.
I caught myself because he's not a global star. If he was a global star, I would have said so. But he's not. He's not popping nowhere but the UK. He's not popping in Mexico. He's not popping in the US. He's not popping in, other countries. Maybe Russia know him.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because that's that whole little corner there.
Let me ask you another question. It kind of is off topic, but on topic. In a previous show, we said Wilder needed to do certain things to increase his profile. And this obviously is one, attaching his name to a popular fighter. But he's done another thing, and it is E! Entertainment's given him and his girl a show where they're on WAGs. Have you watched it?
Bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces. So it didn't interest you. So it's not doing its job in increasing his.
Wait a minute. No. It didn't interest me as far as the overall show and everybody on it. It only interests me because Deontay was on there and his girlfriend. I'm not really interested in, what she does and how their little relationship. I'm not that girl. I only watched it to see if he had anything on there about, his personal life that I didn't know. But it's more relationship and what she wants and all that kind of stuff. But I do think it is helping him become more of getting the average Joe girlfriend to know who he is, but not the average Joe. The
All
average
right.
Joe girlfriend, but not the average Joe.
Listen, Patricia, I don't have my producer here, so I'm not going to be able to store your number, but this was a great call. I hope to hear more of you, and I hope that you can entice other females to call in so that, we can continue to grow in both genders. Thank you for participating. I'm going to move on to the next caller. Have a great morning. We're going out to what looks like Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. 202, is this Marcus?
Nah, man, this Archie Don from DC, man. How you doing?
How are you, Archie? You sound like a first-time caller. Want to thank you for joining us this morning. And I obviously want your take. Is Wilder crazy or is he onto something? Do Americans know who Anthony Joshua is?
Man, absolutely. Everybody know who Anthony Joshua is. First and foremost, man, he's a gold medalist in the Olympics, right? So he already had this promise, almost like LeBron. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, man, he's going to be a beast. And for him to actually come out and actually be a beast with only 20 fights is spectacular. So, look, let me tell you about Wilder. This is why Wilder in a rush to get that fight. He got brittle hands. Now, you can fight with brittle hands being a welterweight, being a lower weight class guy because you can outbox guys. But in the heavyweight division, you got to knock guys out. And with his hand continually being reconstructed, it's going to get to a point where his hand not going to be able to work no more. So he in a rush to get this fight because he got brittle hands and he don't know how much longer he going to have before that right hand don't work no more. What you think, Ness?
I don't know, man. Last I checked, he didn't have any hand issues in the Washington fight. And after the Washington fight, he had the Stavern fight. No hand issues there. So it seems to be taking care of itself or going okay so far. Plus, you got to remember, I've been in at least 4 or 5 Wilder camps. And yo, I mean, you can believe what you want from me. I know that some like to, I mean, not some. It's obviously the UK and the AJ protectors. So I'm metaphorically flipping you off. We all know who you are, right? But, they Christian me the Wilder voice. So maybe you believe that I won't say it or I will. But I've never seen them stop the action because his hands are hurt. You know what I mean? I've never seen him land a punch or hit the bag and all of a sudden, wince in pain and take his gloves off and stop working out. Like, I've never seen that. So I can't say that he has hand issues. Has he had some? Absolutely. But so has Gary Russell. And Mayweather was infamous. The world thought Mayweather would never get as far as he did because of his hands. They went as far as saying he was fucking taking medication and shooting cortisone shots in his hand. I mean, there were so many X-File YouTube videos on Mayweather's hands, and look how far he has gone. So, sorry, buddy. But good call.
I was just specifically talking about the heavyweight division. You can't have brittle hands in the heavyweight division. And I want to hop over to my man Keith Thurman, man.
Whoa, baby, wait. We got other callers, and that is another topic. We're trying to stay on the Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, and Wilder's quotes on America does not even know Anthony Joshua's name. If you're watching this right now live, hit that thumbs up button. I know that it's difficult if you're not signed into your YouTube, but if you are enjoying this show, we need those thumbs up. We need to increase the visibility of this show. We need to put it out there so that eventually we can have Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua on the couch the way that we had the way that we had Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Eddie Hearn, Shelly Finkel all on one show, the way that we get numerous guests every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time is our flagship show and day where we have live boxers on the show. Do not forget to check out the YouTube channel. Here we have numerous interviews with all the biggest names in the sport, so check it out. Hit that thumbs up button, share the show. We're going to the 312. 312, you're live with TBV. Who's this?
Fight Doctor in the house on Rick James status as always.
Fight Doc. What is up, my friend? Is Wilder bugging or is he on to something? Do Americans, the average American, does he or she know Anthony Joshua's name?
Listen, I would venture that Anthony Joshua is more popular in America than Deontay Wilder is. Maybe not, hugely popular or, vastly more popular than Deontay Wilder, but I think it's reasonable to believe that Anthony Joshua is more popular than Deontay Wilder, only because, I think Anthony Joshua has gotten a bigger push from the networks. Showtime, maybe even, I'm not sure if Joshua has been on HBO, but I know he's getting a big push from Showtime. And of course, he knocked out Vladimir Klitschko on premium television. So, given the circumstances, given, the media push that this guy has had, I think it's reasonable to assume that he's more popular than Deontay Wilder. Now, now let me say this. I think if Anthony Joshua were American, wait a minute,
because if I had my co-host here, he would at least play devil's advocate and say, well, when Anthony Joshua's fights are viewed on Showtime, he only gets 330,000 views at most, where Wilder is the only U.S. fighter almost doing 1 million on premium television, not live, premium. Last I checked, he was at like 900 and something, remember? That's a lot more than Anthony Joshua. Granted, Joshua's fights are being aired at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and Wilder's are being aired sometime between 9 and 10 at night.
So then it would be fair if, because when the Joshua Klitschko fight happened, that fight was like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the Midwest when I watched it. Okay, so like on a Saturday, and I think that fight was in August, September? So it was still reasonably warm outside. So folks out kicking it, backyard barbecuing it, getting their drink on, you know what I'm saying? Doing all that type of stuff and not worried about no damn fight. So I think it'd be fair if you would take the live telecast numbers and combine those with the rebroadcast later on that evening and then compare the numbers. And I think that would be a fair comparison, okay? Now, having said that, if we were to take Anthony Joshua and make him American, okay? We were to take Deontay Wilder and make him from the UK, I think you would see Deontay Wilder in the UK selling out Wembley. And you would see Anthony Joshua, in fact, you wouldn't see Anthony Joshua in America because he would have got knocked out by now, okay? Which brings me to the other point that I want to make, or the two last points I want to make, which are this. Anthony Joshua is a knockout waiting to happen, okay? They need to just go ahead and make the Wilder fight because the man is a walking knockout, and as soon as somebody with a decent punch and a decent chin taps that glass mandible of his, it's going to be lights out. It's going to be over.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. But that doesn't matter because he's so big in his country that he will get a rematch. It would be an instant rematch. It would be an instant big fight, and he would probably win the rematch, and then they would do a triple. And then, boxing loves rematches, and they love trilogies.
Look, man, listen. This ain't
no. Listen, Fight Doctor. Okay? No, Fight Doctor. Come on, you got to tell me. You think that because he gets knocked out, let's say he gets knocked out, Povetkin fucking didn't Povetkin knock out Mike Perez flat, and he gets knocked out that style. You think that all his fans just abandon him? Come on, bro, you crazy? Boxing loves a comeback.
Listen.
Boxing loves a comeback. You know it. Stop it. You're older than me.
Listen. Do you remember when Lennox Lewis got knocked out in 2 rounds by what's his name? The Atomic Bull. What's his name?
Rockman. By Rockman.
No. This is the first loss of Lewis's career.
Oh,
he got knocked out.
Look at that. There you go. There you go. It's irrelevant. That's how irrelevant it is. That's how I'm. That's how.
This is very relevant because.
No, it's not.
Look, man,
my case is proven.
Relevant, okay?
My case is proven. I didn't even know about that. I only know about the Rockman knockout. You see what I'm saying? So that means he rebuilt twice. You want more facts? What about Amir Khan? He's been knocked out 3 times and he's been rebuilt. He's rebuilding right now. Boxing.
How many times have we seen?
Fight Doctor, you're wrong. Boxing loves the comeback story.
You need to come up off of that bullshit you on, man. Look, listen. I'm not denying that, okay? But listen. We're not talking about the golden age of boxing when fighters were fighters. We're talking about the shit age of boxing where it's a business now and no longer a sport. It's a business, okay? Now, if you look at this from a business perspective, Lennox Lewis, when he got knocked out by Mike Tyson's old sparring partner, he got knocked out in 2 rounds. There was no immediate rematch. Okay?
You don't gotta have a listen.
The man is a walking knockout, okay?
Listen. You don't have to have immediate rematches. You know, Hagler Hearns didn't have an immediate rematch. Roberto Duran versus whoever wasn't an immediate rematch. Plenty of people. You know, Manny Pacquiao versus Marquez wasn't an immediate rematch. Like it doesn't happen all the time, but it doesn't mean that that all of a sudden Joshua fans are going to abandon him because he lost. Listen, but I love you, man. I got to get to some other callers. Thanks for calling in. We're going to what looks like international UK caller with a big wallet. Instead of calling us in on Skype and adding Nestor Gibbs, NESTORGIBBS, and call us free. Who's this?
NESTOR, Nestor Gibbs. This is Midi.
Midi, what up?
My wallet is not that big, man. I'm just calling from work.
Okay. Rich Uncle Pennybags, aka Rich Uncle Pennybags. So, Mitty, what do you think, man? Luckily for Mitty, this is a perfect international callers for you guys. Just some backstory. This man travels from the UK to the US, so his opinion is actually a little bit better. You know, you can actually talk to some UK fans and some American fans in both your commutes. Who knows who better?
Yeah, so obviously, I'm going to be honest with you. I've only started listening about maybe 1 minute ago. I've just dialed in, right? But I saw the title, and I'm guessing that, Wilder must have made a statement saying that, people don't know Joshua in the US. But to answer your question, I would say that from what from the conversation that I've had with people, both in the UK and in the US, I would say that Joshua is slightly better known in the US than Wilder is in the UK. And because like the hardcore fans definitely know who Wilder is in the UK. He actually had a fight in the UK against one of our Olympian gold medalists, Hodley Harrison. And so all the hardcore actually know who he is. And a lot of people are starting to know who he is now even more because his name is associated with the big fight that we all want to see with Anthony Joshua. So I would say that, Anthony Joshua is the reason why Wilder's name is starting to get spread out to the casual audience in the UK because he's associated with Joshua. But in the US, I would say that just a little bit before Wilder and the fight being mooted between Wilder and Joshua, people were started to know Anthony Joshua. And that's because obviously I think the Vladimir Klitschko fight did a lot for him. I'm not saying he's a big star in the US. He's got a long, long way to go to be a big star in the US. But we've talked about it before, right? I think he's making some moves that are smart in terms of marketing himself outside of the US. And this is brand endorsement, like so Under Armour and whatever he did with like Beats by Dre and, starting to get on TV over there, right? So that's pretty much like my take on it. I'm ready to listen to other opinion and be proven wrong, but that's how I feel based on the conversation and what I'm observing. So yeah.
All right, Mitty. Well, thank you for calling in, obviously participating, being a huge supporter of TBV. Unfortunately, you're going to have to listen to those opinions on the playback because we've already gotten through most of all of our callers, and it is time to definitely give our final thoughts on this particular episode. I will say this. Do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel because we will be back with another episode of TBV. We will be discussing the, I believe it was, let me see what it is called officially. It is called the pre-fight documentary for the Eubank versus Groves. You know that I am definitely interested in the Groves versus Eubank Jr. fight, and they just put out some good pre-fight documentary, pre-fight hype to get us all excited. It feels 24/7 all access style. So we'll be doing a review on that. So for our UK listeners and listeners across the pond, do not forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get a notification whenever we go live, because we are covering boxing internationally. Remember, those thumbs up are appreciated, wanted. If it's gray, you got to make it blue. Hit the thumbs up, sign into your YouTube channel, go the extra mile for the show that you love. Head on over to patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice and jump on one of our tiers. Become a Patreon there, become a boomerang, or a ringer. Get your, cut in the line. All great things. Head on over to Patreon and check out Border Wars as well. You can check out Mitty over there, giving our very own hosts a few rounds in the ring. Doomsday Lioness. Listen, I am your host, Nestor Gibbs. Find me on Instagram and Twitter @NesGTO. Peace.